You know that one person in your life, right? That person you'd love to get along with, but somehow you just can't. Could be a friend, a colleague, or, yep, let's face it, maybe even that one ex. What if I told you there's a surprisingly simple way to finally figure out what's blocking that relationship? And no, I'm not about to suggest endless therapy sessions or diving into every annoying habit they have. Now, for the sake of clarity, let me give you a real-life example from my own experience. It's about an ex. But this applies equally to any complicated relationship you might have. You know that weird feeling when deep down you just know you and your ex shouldn't be anywhere near each other, but there's still this invisible force pulling you together? Yeah, I got one of those exes too. Physically, mentally, we seem like a match made in heaven. But when we're together, there's fireworks. Sometimes beautiful, romantic fireworks. And sometimes the kind of fireworks that explode right next to your ear, making you question your life choices. Now look, I'm no relationship guru, not by a mile. But communication, dealing with tricky people, I know a thing or two about that. And here's the thing I've noticed. Usually the real problem never actually gets discussed. It sits there, big, fat, and awkward, like an elephant in the middle of the room that everybody carefully tiptoes around. So how do you finally talk about that elephant without making things worse? First off, you've got to get crystal clear about what the real issue is. And let's face it, that alone can feel impossible. Here's a hack. Turn that complicated problem into a simple symbol, like what I just did with fireworks. Between my ex and me, the thing that doesn't work is exactly that. Constant, explosive fireworks. And for me, those fireworks symbolize a whole bunch of things. Her sudden, random outburst of anger. Her fiery reactions to just about anything and anyone. And that general unpredictability that makes me constantly walk on eggshells. Ever had one of those moments? You're peacefully driving along, listening to some music, no worries. Then out of nowhere comes that snap. Turn the radio off. It's annoying me. You sit there thinking, wait, what? 2 seconds ago, you loved this song. Now don't get me wrong. This isn't to bash her, absolutely not. She's an amazing mom to my former stepson and one of the most ambitious and loving people I know. But certain behaviors? Not my cup of tea. Definitely not something I want in my daily life. But why bother translating complex issues into symbols like these fireworks? Easy. Because when you name specific incidents, you get stuck in endless debates over small details. Was it really so terrible when she snapped about the radio that one time? Or when she was a bit stressed and lashed out? Nope. Individually, those moments are no big deal. But put them all together over time, and they become exactly like loud, annoying fireworks exploding near your ears every 5 minutes. Naming each individual event, forget it. It's exhausting, complicated, and honestly, it never helps. But calling it fireworks? Perfect. It's clear, visual, and lets her figure out how to handle it on her own terms. Notice, I say her own terms, not mine, because if I tell her exactly how to act, like never snap at me again about the radio, it just won't work. And let's be real, telling people exactly how to behave is like trying to herd cats. Good luck with that. So here's the real magic. When you use a simple symbol, like fireworks, you create clarity without boxing the other person in. They can choose their own way to stop setting off the explosions. And believe me, that makes all the difference in the world. Because in the end, relationships aren't about forcing someone to fit into your perfect little box. They're about finding a way to peacefully enjoy the fireworks without blowing your ears off. But hold up, there's more. Because honestly, Most of the time, it's not just one symbol you need to describe what's standing between you and your ex, or maybe a difficult colleague or a friend. Nope, usually it's 3. Don't ask me why, just trust me and try this yourself with someone you're struggling to get along with. Visualize yourself sitting at a table, facing that other person. Now, imagine 3 objects placed on the table between you two. What are those objects? Seriously, think about it. Imagine them clearly. Then ask yourself how those things make you feel toward that person. Because whatever you're visualizing right now, that's exactly what's standing in the way of a healthy relationship from your point of view. And let me emphasize that again. This is your point of view. Because guess what? From the other person's perspective, there are probably 3 completely different objects standing between you. Can you picture what those objects might be from their perspective? Now, I don't mean small stuff like you should eat healthier, or you really should quit that one annoying habit. Those are details. That's noise. That's not what we're after here. For example, in my ex's case, there's a delivery van right on that imaginary table between us. Not because I'm some huge car enthusiast, but because I'm always busy with projects, starting companies, helping people out. Basically, I'm the guy who always says yes. And here's the thing. If you have a delivery van, suddenly everyone's your best friend. One person needs help moving. Another needs to pick up furniture. And the next one just wants to quickly get rid of some trash. And guess what? The van always comes back either with a flat tire or an empty gas tank. And nobody, absolutely nobody, knows who did it. Sound familiar? Now she could get incredibly irritated by this, not because of the van itself, but because she felt I wasn't just being used, I was being misused. Big difference. But here's the real point. From both sides, there are always objects standing between 2 people, disrupting the balance, making the relationship complicated. And if you're dealing with an ex, forget ever getting back together until that table between you is cleared, cleaned, and completely empty again. Because ignoring what's on that table, that's just begging for trouble. Look, in the end, every complicated relationship boils down to clarity. Not the clarity you force onto someone else, but the clarity you both create together. So forget about trying to fix every little annoying habit. Forget trying to control exactly how the other person should act. Instead, just put the objects on the table, see them clearly, and decide together how you'll move forward. Because relationships aren't about being perfect. They're about clearing the table often enough to enjoy dinner together without choking on the clutter.